Hey guys, Renova here. Waker's just around the corner and I did a little bit of digging and reminiscing back to the ARCS Expo they had in Japan. I'm gonna try to be as informative as I can, but let's get into it. The Waker has 3 types of familiars. It's so weird to call them as familiars, so I'm probably just gonna stick to call them pets for base PSO2 sake. So from what we know so far in terms of familiars, Fredren focusing on long range combat, Wolfin for close range, and Marin or Marmello for counters apparently. By the way, I just want to make this clear for everyone, the new Waker class is going to be focusing on techniques, no melee or range stats, even though the PA icons look color coded, but they specifically said during the headline it's going to be tech based class only. So what I'm assuming is, judging from the gameplay we saw during the live stream, I think David was the one covering it? I was mainly focusing on the gameplay though. But Waker really wants you to coordinate with each familiar as they might play a role in different combat styles. There was a picture of its descriptions including the skill tree, at least a portion of it, unless that's actually all of them. I originally found them on Twitter, so I'll leave a link to the tweets to this content, and credits to Dynamanti for trying to translate it. I will for sure be doing a skill tree guide for Waker, but as far as we know, this is basically what we have seen so far. I'm assuming all these skills on the top section are battle active related skills and the bottom are passives, maybe focusing on subclass stuff. But if I'm correct, it looks like their subclass skills will heavily relate to using rest assigns and reverse assigns and boosting its usage. This might be a little jank, but I'm gonna try to make this as informative as possible, but let's do this. Tacticare looks like it's a passive skill that is required for building up your familiar gauge. I think it's the small palette above your weapon palette that shows the icons of 3 familiars, and you can see underneath that there's like a small bar that indicates the gauge charging. Each of these familiars have their own gear gauge, which can be charged up to 2 stocks. And then you have the familiar unison active, which looks like this. This active will consume 2 gauges, I think 1 of each. I don't know, but it will bring the 2 familiars together to perform a unified attack. I think the weapon action is the only way to charge the gauge for Maron, and it can do more damage if the gauge for it is full. And I think to utilize Maron, there's 4 skills that are required. Marin Strike Tracing, Hot Marin Parry, or whatever it's called, and Parry Recast. The Marin Strike is required in order to charge the gauge, and you can hold the weapon action to attack. Strike Tracing will track enemies down. The Hot Parry thing will let you guard without being interrupted, and then the recast is reduced if the parry doesn't succeed. The Treble Clef applies a mark so you can do more damage, and Treble Clef Ignition enables you to detonate that mark by holding down the normal attack button. It's kind of hard to see, but this is what the mark would look like when it's applied to the enemy. And then there's 2 backup skills with the Familiar Assist, and the Familiar Assist Amplify will call a Familiar Emblem and boost the charge rate of the gear gauge, I think. The Linear Drive allows you to dash in 2 directions, either forward or backwards, and this triggers after performing a Photon Art. And then the Linear Drive 1 more lets you activate Linear Drive again after the previous Linear Drive. The Call Again PP save reduces the PP consumption of the familiar PAs if the gear gauge is empty. The Tucked Berry Guard is when you guard with a weapon action, not with Marin, I believe. These 2 skills basically say when you successfully counter, normal attack after to do a counter attack. And this also grants you PP regen when you successfully counter with a second skill. And I think these are subclass related skills, but focusing on boosting the effects of rest assigns and reverse assigns. I had to Google Lens these and translate them from my phone, but starting from the left side, Old Bren Pre-Rescue has a high chance to recover HP depending on how much damage you take from your max HP. Welfare Management boosts the recovery amount of rest assigns if the HP is below like 30% probably, maybe less. Rest Effect Continuance reduces the recovery, but the HP recovers over time. And then the Lucky Sign has a chance of not consuming rest assigns and or reverse assigns upon use. These last 4 skills make it sound pretty good for it being a subclass, but yeah. Hopefully this was as informative as it is, and I hope this helps clear some things. I for one still don't understand how some things work, but we will get to see it in action next week. So yeah, that's it for this video. I've seen gameplay of Waker on Twitter already, and it looks pretty fun to play. If you find this video helpful, I'd appreciate a like, and if you'd like to see more PSO2 content, smash that subscribe button and it will help out with the channel. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good day, night, wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone.